Hi guys, this is Simon with Trade and Perform Coaching, doing the trade review for Friday the 14th of March 2014. So let's look at a couple of things here. First of all, right out of the gate, my trade plan, at least at its most basic, is very clear. First time into a zone, right? I look for a pause and hopefully a rotation back lower. Right? I have a very simple program where I simply am looking for 2 points, and I'm looking for 1 to 2 trades a day to help build my account. That's at its most basic strategy. The reason why I have gone on StockTwits and Twitter to do this is to show people that you can build a trading account with simply being able to achieve on a regular basis 1 to 2 points per trade, right? Having a set stop, a set exit, right, and a preset location where you're going to take that trade. Does it work 100% of the time? No, absolutely not. Does it work a very high percentage of the time? Most of the time it's 70% plus. Occasionally it's stretched much higher than that. And if we look today, again, why the focus on the first time? Second time and third time on a balanced day will work. It's just much harder in terms of one of the more difficult skills in trading is being able to shift gears from balanced day to trend day or range extension day and then switch gears back to balanced day. What I found in teaching people how to trade is if you just focus on the first touch of the zone and if you're able to identify early on whether we're in a open drive higher, meaning open drives higher often look just like this. There's a couple things that kept it from being an open drive higher, but they look just like this, usually off of gap ups or gap downs, significant gap up, gap downs, right? And if you can learn to sidestep the open drives and you can focus on the first touch of the zones, normally through the course of the day you'll be able to generate 1 to 2 trades a day that'll generate what we're targeting is an initial 2 points, right? And then occasionally, if it's in your trade plan, you can garner obviously more than that with your trailers. The idea behind all this is that, first of all, having a set trade plan reduces the amount of anxiety that you have in your trading. Secondly, having your stops preset and having your exits preset reduce the emotional involvement with the market of trying to guess how far it's going to go or how far it's going to move against you. And the reason for that, the reason why I'm trying to preset that is all those things heighten emotions and they heighten anxiety and they lead traders to making significant trading mistakes which prevent them from being successful. One day they'll have a huge trade, the next day the trade will come all the way against them, and they're constantly in a guessing pattern. So my aim is to eliminate that guessing process. Also, as you're building your P&L and your consistency, right, I have a very measured manner in which I increase trade size. If you focus on your highest odds trades and you focus on your consistency, instead of trying to grab more trades, which is what most traders try to do, they go, well, I'm already getting 1 or 2 trades a day and I'm making X amount of dollars. If I could just grab 2 more trades a day or 3 more trades a day, I can make so much more money. I've taken the opposite path. I focus on only the highest odds trades, and instead of saying, hey, if I can just find 2 more trades, which for many traders turn out to be mediocre trades or losing trades, so you get into the frustration of making money, giving back money. If we focus on the highest odds trading hours, the highest odds trading locations, right, and the best rotations, and we have everything preset for us in terms of entry, exit, and stop, right? You reduce anxiety, you increase focus, you're better able to learn from the market, and as you increase your trade size, you will make more and more money as you're moving along. Essentially, it's an ideal business model. Just like any business that would be successful, the concept has to be scalable through the process. So let's go through the day now that, because it's been a while since I've done a trade review, at least a couple of days, right? So this is first time into the zone, right here, and the you can see the rotation, right? We moved from approximately 1843 all the way up to 1851. That's a nice rotation. And I said I would target the back of the zone if I could get a nice rotation into it. And that's exactly what we did. I was obviously able to garner my 2 points and move on to the next trade. Now, I don't cover all the trades that I take through the course of the day because some of them are simply more advanced. And I'm not trying to show how many trades I know how to take. I'm simply trying to focus, at least in this forum, on the highest odds locations. So with a little bit of patience, you'll look, and we came down into this Thursday's low and Globex lows, right? And I said, first time into this zone, right, would be a great trade location for rotation back up for 2 points. And obviously we traded all the way to the other end of the range, which is pretty normal on a balanced day. And then the rest of the afternoon, look at this time frame. I'm always emphasizing right here. This is the prime time for trading. Now, someone, if you look, someone said, well, I could have shorted up here again, second time into the zone, or right here. If you look, second time into the zone, it really looked like they tried to give it a good shot at breaking up into this zone, which would have made a great trade location, right? Never quite reached it. And this is an iffy move, right? The second time up, you had a pretty strong open, even though I don't consider it an open drive higher for several reasons, and I'll go through those reasons. Number one, it wasn't a gap up or down of significance. There was not a tick extreme, right? And with this rotation size, we just barely made it, and we were still underneath Globex highs. So no, I do not consider this a open drive higher. It was a strong open, but I do not consider it an open drive higher. Also, look, for the trader who took this trade right here, right, he could go, well, look, I had a second shot at making the move all the way to the other end of the range, right? And that's true. However, be realistic about your ability to take trades, right? If you're going to take a trade with leverage, which is what I'm doing, okay, I am using leverage to my advantage. So this move took from just before 11 a.m. Central Time, 12 East Coast, all the way till the end of the day. And look at the size of the rotations here. Really difficult to sit in a trade, you know, when we rotate from essentially 1852 down to 1848, then all the way back to 1850, right? Most traders are getting nervous here. Then we rotate all the way down to 1844, right? And then all the way back again, almost again to 1850. It's very frustrating to ride a trade from 1852 down to 1844, right? That's 8 points, assuming you got the very top of this for whatever reason, right? It's 8 points. If you got less, it's even more, right? Let's say you shorted it here. Now you took a full round trip all the way up and all the way down and realize you've been sitting in this thing for a full hour. Now you take a ride down again, and you're like, finally, I've got a break. Nope, comes all the way back against you again. You roll up from 1843 and a half, it looks like, all the way back to 1847. So at this point, right, assuming you got a perfect entry, you've got 5 points and you've been in this trade for 1, 2, 2.5 hours at this point. Then finally it rolls down, okay? And even once it rolls down and you're shooting for, you know, I don't know who thought it would close on the low of the day. I thought it actually had a shot at that, but look at this rotation back up. Now you're going to have to sit through from 1841 all the way back to 1845. And there's very few day traders who are trading with leverage who can sit through all of that, right? All kinds of possibilities could have happened here, right? For one, I would have thought, man, they could have run it right back up to the zone again. It's a balanced day. Possible, right? If you were taking a second long here, right, you can see where that became very difficult for traders. In this particular case, they were able to garner 2 points, but look, we went out on the low. And what a lot of people were trying to do is look at, from the long side, if they could reproduce this run right here at the close. But for the shorts, you were having to deal with the anxiety of possibly getting this replayed. And then these are things, I guess what I'm trying to communicate here in not a very clear way, is that this is all anxiety producing, right? Now, if you're leaving trailers and your trade plan calls for taking second and third touches, that's great. But I can tell you right now, third touches fail, and often, on these zones. The idea behind this is that, behind my trading, is that these zones, in and of themselves, with nothing else, not looking at rotation, not looking at the amount of time that's spent in the zone, just the zone itself provides a fantastic trading edge. If you go in and add the additional edges of adding rotation size, and you add the addition of time of day, then you become very powerful in the trades that you're taking, and you can become very consistent in a very short period of time. What do you sacrifice for that? Initially, do you sacrifice these bigger trades? Heck yeah. But guess what? Most traders that are catching these bigger trades who are not professionals, your average retailer trader, who's consistently going for 10-point moves in each direction, these are hard to catch. And what you're finding is usually they end up in a system of boom-bust. For a couple of reasons. Look at the risk reward you have to take in order to capture a 10-point trade. For most traders, it's difficult to set that up properly. Secondly, if you're trying to capture 10 points, and there's nothing that says we couldn't just come back to gap fill and then rotate back to the downside as we did on Thursday, excuse me. There's just so many variables from day to day that trying to shoot for this 10 points with anything other than trailers and without having specific points of entry, specific stops, and specific targets, you are setting yourself up for an emotional roller coaster, a stressful roller coaster that's very hard to ride for most retail traders. So at any rate, long story short, this is a perfect demonstration of why first time into the zone, very quick and efficient 2 points. First time into the zone, very quick and efficient 2 points. And for the guys that I'm coaching, I do teach them how to put on the trailers and how to leave trailers so that on occasion they can capture these larger trades. But I can tell you right now, if all I ever took was 2 points out of a trade, I can make a very nice living out of that, and so can you. So at any rate, that's how I use the zones. That's how Friday played out. I thought the afternoon was relatively mild and boring chop fest, especially all the way through here. This was really very difficult to trade in. It looks easy afterwards, but it was really a nightmare. The other things that kind of gave a clue that sellers still had control, we were unable to get above and hold Globex high, number one. And as we came down and tested Globex low for a second and then a third time into the zone, technically this really wasn't even a second time into the zone. It was kind of, it really never left the zone. It kind of tried to get above and failed to do so. The other point that I wanted to mention, look at the size of the rotations down, right, and the length of time here versus in a given, we got a great bounce here, but I'm talking about in the afternoon. Look how the rotations back up kept getting smaller and smaller and smaller down here, and it just kind of got weaker and weaker and weaker. If somehow we managed to open above this level on Thursday's low, I would suspect that we're going to be able to get through this fairly easily. If we open up underneath, I imagine the first time that we test up that we'll reject down. So this will definitely be, I can tell you, it'll definitely be a zone again on Monday morning. And if we open above, if we get a quick bounce here and it's kind of weak, it would not shock me to see this thing flush back to the downside. And that's about it, really, guys. I don't want to go into any more greater detail than that because there's not a lot to talk about on a balanced day. Trading wise, remember, you can calm your nerves and you can calm the stress related to trading if you have, number one, a written trading plan. Number two, specifics, pre-planned entry, pre-planned exit, and pre-planned stop. And respect those, right? Respect those. Have both a cognitive trading journal and a actual trading journal, meaning where you jot down things like time and trade, what time you got into your trade, how many contracts you're trading, what your monthly P&L is on a running basis, your annual P&L on a running basis, and your intraday P&L is, the number of stops you've taken in a row. Have a good trading plan that's in-depth and precise, right? And even have different trading plans for different types of trading days that can be identified relatively early. These are all things that make it easier to become a professional trader. The retail traders fail because they don't go through the discipline of running it like a business. They run it like a casino, and not the owner of the casino, but the guest of the casino. And we all know how that works out at the end of the day. If you run it like you own the casino and you shift the odds to your favor, this day trading concept becomes much easier, and it becomes much easier to realize what your vision is for day trading. If you don't do that, all you end up doing is spending a lot of time and a lot of effort going back and forth in your P&L and getting exhausted. And eventually you walk away and go, you're right, this day trading is a racket, it doesn't work. But the reality is you simply haven't done enough training. You haven't done enough understanding of how the business of day trading actually operates to be successful at it. But I can tell you, I have helped many traders go from frustrated traders to successful, consistent traders, and it is very doable. That's certainly not a pitch for myself, but I would say a key element for any trader is also to make sure that, number one, whatever you're trading matches your personality. And I would also highly suggest or recommend that you find a mentor to walk you through your trading, and someone who can offer you valuable insight both to your emotional state and to your into your trading plan itself, because it's not an easy business. It's a business where a lot of people fail and a few people succeed. For the few people that succeed, a lot of money flows into their accounts, and for the majority that fail, a lot of money flows out of their accounts, and that can be a very frustrating process. Anyways, my name is Simon. I'm with Trade and Perform Coaching, and I certainly hope this helped a little bit. Everyone have a great night. I'm looking forward to a fantastic week. Hopefully we have returned to a two-way market, and we are all going to make a lot more money, as at least in my part, as contra traders and faders. So anyways, have a great night, guys. Look forward to seeing y'all on Monday morning. Talk to you later.